What is up, everybody, and welcome to FLW Videos. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about the Ultra League and, of course, the ultimate team for the Ultra League. We've got Cresselia, Registeel, and Swampert. This team is doing so well for me. I ended up going up 100 MMR just by using this in just one day, which was so cool. Some 5-0 sets definitely helped out with that. But with this team specifically, talking about Cresselia, Registeel, and Swampert, I'm going to give you all of my observations of what the opponents were making mistakes with and how I think there is going to be a little bit of an adjustment. But beyond just providing value to myself, PvPoke.com ended up releasing a graphic talking about the current Ultra League meta, the top Pokemon on there, and then secondly, the top teams updated with all of the new moves, all of the new Pokemon, everything like that. And it was so cool to see this team actually within the top 5 because I ended up building it before the graphic even came out, made a video on it a couple of days ago. But now we're actually getting to see this in action. Now, first things first, this really all has to do with this Pokemon Cresselia. And it isn't because of the move Grass Knot. Now, this may have felt like it came out of nowhere, but it really has to do with a secondary buff that ended up happening that really didn't get a lot of attention initially, and that is to the move Moonblast, which luckily for us, Cresselia has. Moonblast ended up getting a buff to some extent where it is now going to also have the chance to be able to lower the defense of the opponent 30% of the time. A move like Icy Wind is very similar, except Icy Wind is 100% of the time if you're looking for a little bit of the comparison. Other than that, I also wanted to go ahead and provide you some resources for PvP. If you're interested in counting moves of your opponent and trying to understand a little bit more about Ultra League, if you can learn this type of graphic or have it with you, put it off on a computer screen, print it off, do whatever, it really can help you to get the timing down and know, okay, they didn't build up to that Focus Blast, they're only out of Flash Cannon, or, you know, just things like that related to baiting out different moves. You can really increase your performance. Anyways, as far as this team is concerned, one of the biggest mistakes that I was noticing a lot of the opponents that I was going up against were making was that they are doing some type of weird combination with their Giratinas. They're either going Dragon Breath, Dragon Claw, Ancient Power, or they're going Shadow Claw, Dragon Breath, Ancient Power. Out of the 7 battles that I went up against with someone having a Giratina, I actually only ended up going up against one of them that used the move Shadow Sneak. And surprisingly enough, though, even with Shadow Claw and Shadow Sneak, you're still going to have a lot of trouble versus Cresselia, especially if Cresselia ends up investing in the shield. So you really need to try to bait them out a little bit and hit them with the Dragon Claw. Hope you can get some of those shields. But point is, I cannot tell you how many people were not running that Shadow Claw, Shadow Sneak combination. I'm sure that will change. Keep that in mind. If you think you're going to race off and get this team and it's going to work a week or two as easily as it is now, that's going to be sadly mistaken, because people will definitely start adjusting their teams. But speaking of adjusting their teams, I've noticed that a lot of people have been using Alolan Muck, which we definitely predicted because of those dark type moves being super effective against Cresselia, as well as being super effective against Giratina. A lot of people are going to start using Alolan Muck. But the way that I was kind of rounding out my team, I would basically set it up to where I could go in with a Registeel and then just smack it with a Focus Blast. So of course, if you have a team set up, you can handle all those things. I mean, look at all of these Giratina leads in this case. We've seen so many battles with it, and just going at it with that Moonblast, as you can see there, he was using Dragon Breath, but he did get a good switch out in time, so definitely learning. People are going to just kind of figure it out. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and switch into a Swampert here. But like I said before, I've got hard counters versus the Alolan Muck kind of in 2 different ways with Swampert as well as Registeel. It really just depends on how I want to go, but I would say that Swampert is definitely the quote-unquote hard counter to that Alolan Muck. Some other common Pokemon that I've been seeing kind of show up a little bit more are Scizor. That's definitely been so much more common, but in this case, using Swampert is usually kind of my go-to. But basically, just seeing a lot of Pokemon with those dark type moves are really starting to be showcased a lot more in that case. But regardless of all of this, using this team, the number one thing that I've kind of realized that you need to know is that these battles take so much longer now. If you're using Cresselia and using another tank like Giratina or Registeel or something like that, these battles are getting so close to the 5-minute mark that you may want to keep that in the back of your mind, because you may end up finding yourself in a situation where you can actually end up winning the battle just because of it timing out. But like I said before, it just takes a lot longer because you can get off so many quick moves, you get off or so many charge moves. These Pokemon are so tanky in this case. I just want to mention it to you so that you can 100% be ready to go, ready to just kind of like have that heads up in that case. So ended up seeing an Aggron, which is kind of interesting. I ended up using Flash Cannon there as a shield bait. That way I could go ahead and get back to that Focus Blast. And I actually made it back to a Focus Blast before they could get off another move. This should be able to one-shot KO this Aggron here. Aggron's definitely a spicy pick, so I'm excited about them doing that. And then we actually ended up getting a forfeit here. In this case, they opted out of it. So this is going to be the actual battle that I ended up losing against. And I do want to go ahead and commentate over it a little bit. So number one, Snorlax is surprisingly a wall to Cresselia, and it once again has to do with that quick move of Shadow Claw. So because you've got this Snorlax just putting out that damage, and it's also a good counter versus a Pokemon like Giratina as well, Snorlax could end up being a solid kind of counter to this. As you can see, that Moonblast isn't doing anything. I'm sending in Registeel for the Focus Blast, but they were ready for it, ready to go there. So we are, of course, going up against Swampert. Now, this is actually the mistake that I made. I used Flash Cannon, right? And I'm thinking like, okay, well, that's probably the smart move. Yes, I got a shield out of it, but that was kind of like my general mistake, was not knowing the intricacies of my team, which will definitely happen over time. But for example, when I was using Registeel, sure, I got the shield on that first one. I'm thinking like, oh yeah, I'm going to be able to hit him with that Flash Cannon. Even if it's not super effective, it's going to do so much damage there. But honestly, in this case, it's like, why did I do another Flash Cannon there? I should have gone with a Focus Blast. And I was able to hit it, and I didn't even take it down. Focus Blast does just so great of neutral damage in this case. I could have really put some damage on that Swampert. Instead, it didn't happen there. And honestly, I think that was the turning point. But guess what? That wasn't the opponent doing that. That was on me for sure. So just kind of learning different things about your team is really going to also help you with your performance. But then also, I've been using Moonblast a lot just to try to figure it out, just to try to see like how much damage it ends up doing against some of these other Pokemon. And then secondly, you'd be surprised as to how many times you might find yourself lowering the defense of the other opponent. It's a 30% chance, but I honestly felt like I was almost having it happen once a game, because you can get off Moonblast so many times in your battles that the odds of it happening are actually pretty high, at least once in a battle. But anyways, we're going up against that Snorlax again. Freaked out a little bit on that. Still somehow got an excellent. I don't even know how in that one, but I was actually walking while I was battling, so that probably didn't help me out too much. Going into Swampert, I'm thinking that I do have a pretty good chance here to be able to pull it off, but we'll actually end up seeing. But like I'm saying before, the real big issue that I was actually running into with this team was honestly on my own, just not knowing like how to use all of those moves or anything like that. Cresselia is new as well, so people are going to try to have to fill it out a little bit. And yeah, we're going up against Giratina here. We've got no shot at it. I might be able to hit it with an Earthquake, but I would have to somehow hit it with 2 Earthquakes to be able to take it out. They still have a shield left. They're using Dragon Breath again. So in that case, Dragon Breath ended up helping out. But for the most part, Dragon Breath did not end up being the moveset that ended up doing better overall. Shadow Claw, Shadow Sneak was the overall better threat versus this team. Anyways, I hope you did enjoy this episode. Hopefully it was helpful. I would love to know what you think about Cresselia in the comments section below. Do you plan on using it? What about Registeel? What about Swampert? What team are you using? Anything and everything, let me know in the comments section below, and I will see you next time. I also forgot to mention, if you're interested in getting more resources related to PvP, definitely make sure that you follow me on Twitter. I'm sharing graphics, I'm sharing tutorials, I'm sharing all sorts of stuff centered around the game as well as PvP. So make sure that you go ahead and drop a follow. I will make sure to put a link in the description. If you want to develop a deeper connection, I would highly recommend you to check out Patreon. We've got a lot of really cool things going on over there. Check out all of these supporters that we have. We are almost up to 100. We are also posting some special content, some behind the scenes work. And if that is the type of thing that interests you, I would highly recommend you to check it out.